news. The good news, the bad news, today's world is all about change, and whether or not it's good news or bad news all depends on your perspective. But I want to remind folks today, I want to remind you today as we sit back and we look around the world at what's going on in the Ukraine, what's going on all around in China, what's going all around with the COVID pandemic worldwide. The world's in the throes of struggle. But let me remind you, it is only in the times of struggle that the great progress occurs. When it's good times, everybody's having a party. See, everything changes because everybody's getting out there enjoying the wonderful fruits of their labor. But right now, when it's hard times, these are the times when history is being made. And let me remind you of some of the wonders that have occurred. Because of this pandemic, the push for worldwide health care is out there. More than it's ever been before, there's a nationwide, indeed an international push for health care. This opioid epidemic, fueled by the greed of pharmaceutical companies, has at least spurred the greatest investment in mental health that I've seen in my whole medical career. Now we're investing in addiction medicine. And even though, once again, it had to be fueled by the struggles of those who are white, at least in this instance, again, hopefully it will trickle down to the non-white folks. I remind everyone that when the crack epidemic hit the black community, we got 3 strikes, you're out, and just say no. Now that you have the opioid epidemic facing the white community, you get the greatest funding of medical expansion in recent medical history. That's the difference. But of course, it may trickle down, and I'm hopeful that it does. Indeed, I am hopeful that we get some care out there. So it's rough times, but times of progress. Let's take a look at our president, Joe Biden, who currently is enduring horrible numbers. Now, part of the reason why Joe's numbers are so bad is he's really not satisfying anybody. He's abandoned the left. That's the people who got him elected. So what is he to stand on? Where is Merrick Garland, who was to be a Supreme Court nominee, who now heads up the Department of Justice? It turns out that you could just blow off a congressional subpoena and seeming to be without any consequences. At least let's put it like this. Justice deferred long enough, as Martin Luther King said, is justice denied. Okay, so right now we are so far into this, they're blowing off all the congressional subpoenas, and we haven't seen one recourse of action taken against all of those folks. So where is the Department of Justice? The reason why Biden is doing so poorly is because, unfortunately, his conduct is reminiscent of the Biden that I know. Joe Biden, and let me give you the correct perspective. Back when I was 12 and 13, the whole United States was Trump. That's the way all of them thought. In my opinion, 85, 90% of America was straight out racist and bigoted. Okay, so this is the way things were at the time. And Joe Biden was one of the folks that black people liked because he was at least nice to Negroes. You know, he was one of those ones who would say, we need to conduct ourselves better. But he was known to be a friend of all the segregationists. That's who he went to dinner with. That's who he sat down and ate with. But so, you know, this is the way I say it. It would go like this. Joe walks in and he would say, come on, fellas, we got to be nicer to the Negroes. And they would say, oh, fuck those niggas, Joe. Come have a scotch. And he would sit down and have a scotch. And he says, no, really, you got to be nicer to the Negroes. Oh, screw those dumb Negroes. Here, have a cigar. And then Joe would have a cigar. So in our world, we loved anybody white who was at least civil to us. You have to remember the times. White folks, when they called you Negro, they were being nice to you. Okay, that's the time it was. Okay, it's not like today. So Biden represented, at that time, moderation. And moderation was key, and moderation ruled because that was the best you can get. In today's world, moderation doesn't work so well. And Joe Biden finds himself in a position where he's satisfying no one. And now he stands on the brink of war. Well, what's so interesting about this war is conflict with Putin. Well, you still have Trump out there signifying his support for Putin right now. He just got through calling Putin a genius. So now the Republican Party of cowards has to decide once again how far they're going to follow Trump. Are they going to say Putin's being a wonderful man and a good guy? And right now, that's what's happening. They're all trying to decide how far they're going to backtrack, Tucker Carlson, all of them, when it relates to Russia, because they got to deal with Putin's actions right now. So that's where we find ourselves. Now, I will remind you, I started out this news section with the comment that what appears to be struggle is often change and leads to a good time. In Russia, people have been mobilized. They have been protesting in the streets. They're not taking this, okay? So many of them are talking about how this is affecting them. They're already a country whose economy is half the time tanking, okay? You know, the quality of life for the average Russian, give me a break, okay? And so now they're faced with this. So I don't know. What does it mean? Increasingly, you hear reports that Putin is going off the deep end. As I can tell you this, as a 65-year-old person, you get older, you get closer to the deep end. You get closer. I think that Putin is like the rest of us who get older. One day you just say, well, you know what? I don't give a shit. I'm going to do what the hell I want, no matter what anybody thinks. How about that? And I think that's where he is right now. They say he's becoming increasingly erratic. He cannot win this conflict with the West. In fact, economically, this is the same types of things that caused the Soviet Union to collapse anyway. They don't have the economy they can't make a car. Okay, where's the Soviet Union car? What great country, quote unquote great country, they can make a bomb, but they can't even make a car. So you know what kind of bombs they make, right? Okay, all right, because we had a point with our bombs, 30% of them weren't working. Okay, or was it only 30-some% that were working? Now, you know, if ours is 30%, you know the Russians is 10%. Okay, because they can't make anything. This is an incompetent country. Just be glad they have oil. Okay, because without that, they wouldn't be selling you anything, maybe potatoes. Okay, so this is Russia. And this is their declining influence today. So once again, I remind you, what appears to be struggle is in fact change, and is going to be a good thing. And let me remind you to some of the other good things. We are more aware and sensitized to the plight of gay folks, LGBTQ. Okay? All of those folks that have been part of our community and marginalized, we can now be sensitized to their needs and their plights. And the pendulum always swings far and then back. Right now, a lot of people say there's too much emphasis on gay life. The pendulum swings far and then swings back. They say there's too much emphasis on black life. The pendulum swings far and then swings back. Some folks are upset about the Super Bowl halftime. The pendulum swings far and swings back. We must endure it swinging far in order to change, for our sensitivities to grow. For many of us, we will never speak of or speak to people we perceive as being gay in the same way ever again. For many of us, we will never speak or engage with women in ways that we have done in the past ever again. And for many of us, we will never speak and engage as it relates to race and religion as we have ever done, because we have been sensitized. And while that has hurt and caused anguish, it is actually, once again, a good thing, because we have managed to turn that stumbling block into a stepping stone. And because of this, indeed, because of this, because of the struggle and the tears and the problems of which we have endured for the last 2 years, a lot of us, indeed the world, will be better today. God bless us for this challenge. God bless us for getting us through this challenge. And God bless us with the changes that are imminent.